Hi, I haven't done a video for a couple of weeks, so I wanted to make a video to explain why. So 2 weekends ago, the weather suddenly got very cold here, and this caused my son Daniel's asthma to flare up in a very sudden and very severe way. On the early hours of Sunday morning, just as the clocks were changing, we found ourselves over here in the accidental emergency department at Addenbrooke's Hospital. Now, fortunately, we got there quickly enough, and the ED team did their amazing job at stabilising him and then handed him over to paediatric intensive care, who helped him to get well again over the next 2 days. So he came back home on Monday last week. We spent a week between my wife and I with him as he recuperated. We made a great big Lego Saturn V rocket, and I'm glad to say that he's now back at school and fitting well. But it was a real scare for all of us. Now, it's caused us to think about our levels of complacency, I suppose, in terms of managing his condition, and I expect that I'm going to be coming back and talking about that in a future video. But what I wanted to talk about in this one was the teamwork that I saw in the ED and the intensive care unit teams over at Addenbrooke's, because it was absolutely superb. First thing was the level of communication between people. So there wasn't a lot of chatter, but when conversation happened or communication happened, it was really very clear. And there was a lot of handshaking taking place. So verification, have you got that? Are you clear? Can you repeat back to me? Doses, frequencies, the plan, all of that kind of stuff. The second was the use of emotion in the communication, which was really interesting. So there was some use of irritability, actually. If the doctor in charge wasn't getting the information that he needed quickly enough, then he would become a little bit irritable. Now, nobody took this the wrong way or seemed to, which I thought was a good indication of it being a psychologically safe environment. But nevertheless, he used it as a way to hurry people up and to get the answer, and I thought that was great. On the flip side to that, there was also quite a lot of humour involved, and it kind of seems, in one sense, a little bit incongruous given the seriousness of what was taking place, both with us and the people around us. But nevertheless, it really did help to cut through some of the tension some of the time. And then the third observation was about the interaction between the ED team and the paediatric intensive care unit team. Because it wasn't a handover, okay? It wasn't a, here's what we've done, here's this child, here's all of the relevant information now over to you. Probably 15 or 20 minutes after we arrived in ED, the lead doctor from the paediatric intensive care unit came down, introduced herself to me, said, I'm going to be looking after Daniel once he comes up to us. And she was then working alongside the lead doctor in ED so that she was understanding what the treatments that were taking place were, what were the interventions, what's the plan, and how are things developing. So rather than it being a siloed thing, it was sort of quite the opposite. There was a deep amount of sort of collaboration, communication, if not shared problem solving, then shared insight and shared commitment to the forward plan. In all of the mayhem and the panic and the stress and the distress of what happened, I thought it would be useful just to extract a couple of interesting things out of the whole experience, if nothing else, just to make it a bit less awful for us. So hopefully back to normal now, and so I've been Gareth, and I will see you on the next video.